Well, this week, both the Confederate and the United States Congress meets, and both presidents have their State of the Union addresses to the Congress. And then Davis is really cherry-picking, facts and statements. And I think he might be a bit delusional about the state of the war that is currently existing. Hello and welcome to Civil War in Hindsight. I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me as always is Prospector Johnny. And Johnny, not a lot happens this week, which is good when it comes to war.
Do we continue shelling Fort Sumter at least?
Yeah, the week's going to open up on the 4th with, you guessed it, an additional 1,307 rounds fired at Fort Sumter.
Thank God. That's a good use of those 1,347 rounds or whatever number.
Still in Confederate hands, by the way.
That's exactly what we want to do with all of our excess ammunition. Just shoot at rebel.
That's what we're doing. On December 5th, Longstreet's forces are going to continue withdrawing eastward out of Tennessee. There's some skirmishing at Walker's Ford on the Clinch River from his forces pulling out and Union forces pursuing all that fun stuff.
Hitting each other, whatever.
Yep.
Shit.
On the 6th of December, we're going to see Sherman entering Knoxville, formally ending the siege of Knoxville, reinforcing Burnside's forces, although the siege has actually already been over for the last couple of days because Longstreet's actually already pulled out. But
he's
leaving, now
skirmishing down the road.
Reinforcements are here, and yay! And the USS Weehawken, which is a copy of the USS Monitor. It's gonna sink inner anchorage at Morris Island because the design is not the best for open water travel, and it was just sitting at its anchorage, and the water started going too much, and it went blah 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 blah.
Was it made to be a riverboat, or just along the coast, or just bad design?
So remember the Monitor class. It is an all steel constructed boat, which that right there tells you,
steel doesn't float. I don't know if anybody's told the scientists.
And it's basically like a flat plank with a cheese wheel on top.
Okay, yeah, what's one of those? Okay.
And if the water if it's doing this too much,
it sits like 3 feet above the water line, maybe, right?
Yeah, it's at the water line. So if the water starts to slosh on top of it, it goes blah 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 blah. So, same thing that happened to the Monitor. It also went blah blah blah.
Well, but this time they thought it was going to be different.
They built a lot of these, Johnny. It's not this isn't
hopes and prayers.
They keep pumping these out.
Yeah,
I don't want to be put on one of those boats because
keep on keeping on.
Keeping on.
Maybe they're just trying to turn it into a submarine and failing that way. Maybe they're failing differently than we think.
That might be true.
And they got it to go under, just figuring the backup thing.
Coming back up and then
hard.
Being water. That part's hey, the Confederates struggled with that too. So
it's a hard concept. Yeah.
Both Confederate Congress and the U.S. Congress are going to respectively meet at their capitals on the 7th. Traitor President Davis is going to address his fake Congress on the 7th and say that there have been grave reverses from their summer gains, but that they have kept the enemy movements in check. Really, Davis?
Is he doing like a little tournament with his?
You've kept them in check. I mean, sure, check. Fine. In Virginia, on the Eastern Front, sure, we haven't really crossed the Rapidan or the Rappahannock. Fine.
In check.
You did damn near lose your entire army when Lee thought that he could cross it, and it didn't work out for him. But sure, in Virginia, you've not really lost any ground. Now out on the West, you did lose the entire Mississippi River.
Which is...
You lost...
It's major. If you don't know U.S. geography, the Mississippi's a big one. It's...
Essentially, it's not even essentially. Half your country is now gone. Yes. It's split in half. It's not essential. There are two halves. You also lost your next largest railroad hub in the South on the Western Front, which was Chattanooga. that has also
Right, yeah.
now fallen
Yeah, I mean, really all of Tennessee,
to
basically.
Union hands. And for all practical purposes, Tennessee's in Union hands. So
They're on their way out. But,
Arkansas, also their state capital in
shoot,
Union
yeah.
hands. Louisiana,
Roxy-fine
your
town.
biggest port,
Shoot.
also in Union hands.
Okay.
So now you're left with Charleston,
Right.
but Louisiana.
You're bringing a lot of negativity to this congressional State of the Union, Tommy, and I don't think they need that right now. They need victories, and so that's what Traitor President Davis is leaning on is his victory.
Are also running into personnel issues with diminishing numbers in their army due to captures and AWOL, because there is a ton of soldiers that are just going, I don't want to do this anymore.
Do you think maybe that's
They're not
because they
coming
don't
back.
have food or ammunition or good guns or
might be-
proper uniforms and the winters come and now it's cold and wet and they're dying of dysentery?
That might be part of it. And to make matters worse on that front, the U.S. has taken a stance of no negotiations when it comes to prisoner transfers. So normally, in a lot of wars, you can just trade prisoners, get prisoners back, put them back into service. But we are not doing that specifically because we know they don't have people. We can afford to. All right. Sorry to the Union guys in Andersonville. You're fucked.
No, you're not that sorry.
I mean, I am. That's a horrible way to go. But I don't have.
Now you feel for the people suffering and dying? Now? In this one instance?
Johnny,
Talk about cherry picking, Lieutenant Tommy.
I don't get to make those rules. I am not a general or a president. But I do feel. Anyways, we're not trading troops back and forth because we don't need them. They need them way more than we do. Mm-hmm. So there is that.
Sorry, boys have been captured. We don't care enough about you.
Yeah. Now, to make all that matters worse for the Confederacy, they're running out of money. And by running out of money, I mean they don't have
Confederate bucks. Like, why don't they just make more? Their money's meaningless. What?
Any money? The finances are in ruins. There is no improvement in foreign relations, and by that I mean there is no. Every foreign government is like, no, you're not a real country. We're not getting involved in this.
Yeah, and your Confederate dollars are no good here. Please take them to your camp store, where you can purchase one boot.
Meanwhile, Lincoln is going to address Congress on the 8th, the U.S. Congress on the 8th. His report is much, much more positive. Reports come in that the blockade is becoming more and more effective as the Confederate Navy is practically non-existent. Treasury in the United States is sitting at $5.3 million, with some of the monies coming from goods seized from those blockade runners.
So, that's kind of, all right. Yeah, all right, that's good. That's good, yeah. We'll take that. It's our money anyway.
Yeah, it's our money. Right. Lincoln is going to issue a proclamation of amnesty and reconstruction. He's already talking about ending this war with surrender terms, basically.
All right, so he sees the light at the end of the tunnel here, and he's like, all right, we got to start figuring out what to do when they do surrender.
Yes. So he says that anyone who takes an oath of loyalty to the Union would be allowed to rejoin without punishment, minus high-ranking Confederate officers, those that resign commissions in the U.S. force to join the Confederate Army. So basically, even if you were private in the U.S. Army and you resigned, and then you were a traitor and you went to the Confederacy, you're going to be punished.
Yeah,
and members of the Confederate government. So anybody who is sitting on that congressional on the other side, you are all like you can say your oath of loyalty all you want, but it isn't gonna matter.
It's meaningless.
And then
shouldn't have cosplayed as a senator for a fake country. Sorry.
Yes, and then anybody who is deemed to have committed less than legal actions against any prisoner of war or individual of color during this whole war will also not be allowed to rejoin the Union.
That does not include Union members who have done those things, right?
No, that's just Confederates.
Okay. All right, I was going to say, that's...
Calm down.
Boy, oh boy, that's going to be bad.
In his final proclamation, he's going to state that any rebellion states that hold their own election to create a pro-Union government to rejoin the Union will be readmitted to the Union pending an oath of loyalty from that new government. So if Virginia decides we don't want this war anymore, and Virginia as a state votes to re-elect a Union government and vote to rejoin the Union, they're allowed in as long as, oath of loyalty.
So, which would be basically just getting new congressmen, senators, all that stuff for that state, which is going to have to happen during.
It allows you to get states that are under Union control: Louisiana, Tennessee,
get
able to get
those
them
elections going, get
back in the
people
game.
in, and
Yep.
then we start actually. They have a functioning government for the
Again.
union inside of them instead of
Yes.
puppets.
Yep. And Johnny, there is a free men of color unit that is going to mutiny in Fort Jackson, Louisiana from the north. That mutiny is going to be put down on the 9th. And this all basically happens because a white officer is mistreating them, and he legitimately is mistreating them. And so the solution to putting down this mutiny is we're just going to move him somewhere else. He is no longer your officer. Don't worry about it.
Are they Catholic or?
I don't know. Why would that matter?
Well, isn't that just how they hide their people who do?
I get. Oh, it was a Union Catholic hiding and moving there. Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, maybe. We just moved him somewhere else where he can abuse other people instead. Hey, good news, Johnny. On the 9th, the blockade runner, the Mina from England, it's captured in Charleston, turned over to the U.S. forces. So
Hooray!
still working. And the week's going to come to an end on the 10th with skirmishing around Greenville as Longstreet sets up his forces there for the winter cap. So
Greenville, Alabama?
no, Georgia.
No, Greenville, Mississippi.
Someplace Greenville. I'm gonna say Georgia, but I'm probably wrong.
Georgia.
That's it for this week in Civil War in Hindsight. If you enjoy Civil War in Hindsight, check out Historic Hindsight. We talk about all kinds of fun things, like our U.S. presidents, like the most famous and known of all. I forgot his name. Why did I forget his name? Shit, we just talked about him. Jackson, Johnson, Cincinnati Bengals head coach. It doesn't matter.
Zach Thomas.
Huh?
Thomas.
Thomas.
Zachary Thomas.
Zachary Taylor.
Taylor. Fuck. I thought I had it.